Casey Anthony has indeed become a household name. She's been on the covers of Globe, OK, People magazines, and there's speculation that she may be offered millions for an interview. There's even talk of Casey Anthony the movie. Now, should she make money from the death of her daughter? Back to talk about it, criminal defense attorney Mark Eiglarsh and Jennifer Berenger. She's a consultant to Casey Anthony's defense team. And joining us, host of HLN's Issues, Jane Velez-Mitchell. Jane, should she make money off this?
Well, I personally don't think so, but I also feel that there's a lot of people who agree with me that she shouldn't make money. The Bleep Casey Anthony Facebook page has about 800,000 members. There was a tremendous rage at the jail at the time of her release. You saw one woman there who is organizing a whole boycott of any corporation that has anything to do with her in terms of handing her money. So I think it's going to be very dicey for any kind of legitimate major corporation to do a deal with Casey Anthony, although, as we all know, there are many, many ways around that, so they might be able to do a sneaky deal and pay a corporation that Casey Anthony creates that might even be an offshore corporation. We don't know how it's going to work.
And Jennifer, you know, the question to you is, will she make money?
I suspect that she probably will.
Same the ways in which Jane's suggesting?
I think so. I'm not giving you any inside information when I say this is a woman who probably is not going to get a job in this country. So I imagine that she's going to make money off this. You know, whether that she should, you know, that's an unfortunate thing that people will be talking about for the next couple of weeks, you know, next couple of years in college. But
are the members of her defense team, other than Jose Baez, in her life? Or is everyone scattered to the winds?
You know, I would say Jose is far more involved. He's been the one stable person on the team this entire time. Everybody else has come in and out.
And I have to ask you the usual questions. Do you have any information about where she is and what he's up with her?
Not that I'm going to give you.
Make note. That means she knows something. She knows something, so I'll have my team descend upon her at the end of this program, start putting the thumb screws to her. The other thing I want to ask you, this is off this particular topic for just 1 second. Do you think, I'm convinced that the prosecution oversold themselves on the duct tape. That to them was the entire story. And when I first saw the duct tape, I thought to myself, that doesn't really, that could have happened after that. I have a ton of questions about it. And why didn't they see that?
I'm not sure. I was really happy when they did that for obvious reasons. I think that they can't substantiate it. And I was hoping that we had a jury that would be able to follow the forensic evidence closely enough to see that they can substantiate that. There really is. You have to make quite a few jumps to get there.
Why not focus on the manslaughter? Why do you think that they didn't go after that a little more aggressively?
That I really couldn't answer you.
So that was another weakness, yes?
I think it was. Yeah, I definitely think they overcharged her.
Well, let's go back to the issue at hand, which is her making money. I heard there was a porn deal. Vivid Entertainment apparently had an offer out for her to a porn. Good job, guys over at Vivid, for rescinding it. Thank you for that. Now, if Casey does end up making money off a book deal or interviews, she may not get to keep it. Prosecutors in the case have filed a motion asking for Anthony to pay for the costs related to the case's investigation and prosecution above and beyond the legal minimum. You may have a job again to go out and defend her. This could potentially add up to hundreds of thousands of dollars. Let's take a look at the breakdown of some of these costs, all of which are currently being paid by you fine folks, taxpayers in Florida. The jurors' expenses alone are running over $200,000. The defense team expenses are $140,000. Most of that was for expert witnesses and private detectives. I know, Jennifer, you may take issue with that, but we'll keep reading. And the prosecution expenses are near $100,000. Mark, again, mostly for the expert witness testimony. Mark, do you think Casey is going to get stuck with a big bill at the end of all this?
I don't call it stuck. I think that she absolutely should have to pay those things. At a minimum, the cost of the prosecution and the cost of the investigation. That's not something that just applies to Casey Anthony. I have clients all the time who, as part of a plea deal and or if there is a conviction, not with me, of course, but if they are ever convicted, they would theoretically have to pay the cost of those things. That's not uncommon. In this particular case, they're high, and she owes that back to the state.
Jennifer's shaking her head vigorously. How come? How come
I just
not?
can't fathom why she should have to pay for the charges
Why should
that the
the
state brought.
taxpayers?
Well, apparently the state, you know, they're responsible to the taxpayers. They decided to overcharge her.
Mark?
They lost their case.
Mark, what do you think?
I'm talking about, hold on, let me just make clear which costs I'm referring to. The cost of the investigation for those convictions that they have against her, the lying, absolutely the cost of the investigation. Now, the cost money that went to her for her defense while she was indigent, perhaps a different story legally. But for sure, the 4 counts for which she was convicted, the lying, the cost of the investigation, based on those lies, what they had to do, absolutely, morally and legally, they have a right to recover.
But you, Jennifer, say she's going to make a lot of money, so she may be able to pay for those costs.
She may. You know, I have no opinion on whether or not I would be watching something like that.
I'm asking what this is a case that had tremendous disdain in the public. What motivates a defense attorney to go down and go, I think I'm going to defend that girl?
You know, originally it is exactly that. It's because I don't like the idea of people being convicted in the court of public opinion and having a hard time getting a fair and impartial jury, which apparently she did. And
she had a hard time getting it?
Yeah, I mean, we had to go to another city. Of course, you can't do it. She ended up getting it, of course. So initially, that's why I think a lot of attorneys are interested in doing these types of cases. That's why we're defense attorneys. I'm sure Mark can talk to that.
Mark, do you go down and chase cases like this?
No, and let me just say this. I think a lot of lawyers signed up on this case because it was high profile, and some, I believe, genuinely were all about protecting her rights, but candidly, most were in this case because look at the benefit to their career, the opportunities after the fact. There are literally hundreds of Casey Anthonys throughout the country right now who don't have the big high-profile case but did allegedly kill their own children. Where are the lawyers lining up to help them?